see it played. The game is the Marshals, Volume 1, Junot and Soult in Portugal. The game we're playing, or the scenario, is Junot 1808, which is the first scenario. It is the Anglo, so I'm playing as the Anglo-Allied side now. This will be all review and commentary because the Anglo-Allies can't actually do anything. The British fleet here, which is currently in port of Peniche here, can only move at the start of the operations phase, so it cannot move now. And the entire Anglo-Allied land army has already activated. So, going to review. So all of the A's are inverted. There, inverted, to show that they have already activated. Okay. I just realized something, that it's kind of nice that when you're looking at the enemy force, the forces, the stacks that have already activated, you see the A upright, so you can easily see activated, activated, activated. I hadn't noticed that before. That's nice. Okay, so the center of the French disposition here is already activated, so they're not doing anything more this turn. We have the force over here in the Monte Junto, that's still available. And then, of course, we have the presumably very large force down in Lisbon, still available. So things to consider. What was I? There was something I was thinking between play sessions here about the Anglo-Allied side. One thing is, I don't think it's thinking about the whole line of communications, cutting line of communications, the Anglo-Allies tracing line of communications back to the British fleet. All of that is not something to be, it's not an overriding consideration, I'm thinking. I'm thinking that if the French cut the line of communications, the Anglo-Allies, I think that they should more or less easily be able to do something about it. Or another way of looking at it is, even if the French cut the line of communications, I'm not sure that they can keep the line of communications cut too long. But we'll see. The French do have a good, I remember. I remember what I was gonna do. Okay, or thinking about doing. So the French have a good defense here, except that I'm thinking Anglo-Allies should just go after this single force here. It will either eliminate French units. It will, of course, pierce the line here. And if the French counterattack, it will probably be more or less to their disadvantage. If, I'm talking about if the Anglo-Allies are able to concentrate there. Now, as it is, there are only the two direct marches, line of marches to Torres Vedras here. And of course, to use this one, have to backtrack. So this would be 2, 3, 4. But this is also 2, 4. So that's one thing I was thinking. Just go after this single guy. I think the French probably, well, now I'm thinking from the Anglo-Allied perspective, the French messed up their Um, yeah. I don't think there's much this force can do from the Anglo-Allied perspective. The one good thing it's doing is that, note that this is from Óbidos through Rio Maior. This is a straight shot by road down to Lisbon. So let's say from Óbidos, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I mean a cavalry force. Let's see. Yeah, cavalry force alone could do that. So that French force is serving a purpose, but of course you have to consider disposition of force. Is it an economy of force mission? When does blocking this route of approach march route, when does it become no longer essential? But in any case, I think the Anglo-Allies are just going to bust through here. Another consideration is that while I talked a lot about the inefficiency of moving a large consolidated force like this, because you draw extra fatigue markers, here are the fatigue markers, you draw extra fatigue markers for the size of your force. Extra fatigue markers can quickly significantly increase your chances for step losses from your incredibly valuable infantry units. These guys. But then I was thinking, well, if this is obviously for next turn, but if I'm thinking that maybe the entire Anglo-Allied land army marches to here, just one march, entire thing. I want to total the step strength of the entire Anglo-Allied army since I have it consolidated. But even if I drew multiple fatigue markers, I've got Wellesley with them, which can put back one fatigue marker, and the baggage train can put back a fatigue marker. So moving the entire army one march might actually be doable. Of course, it's slow. I mean, moving one area per turn. As a matter of fact, let's figure it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, actually, if I could move one, that's interesting. If I could move one at a time, I could reach Lisbon before the end of the campaign. Isn't that interesting? Then it would become, I imagine it would become a game of the French doing everything possible to delay. So if they delayed, so if the Anglo-Allies tried to actually do a bull run, one march per turn, and to attack and take Lisbon, so that would be 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd, and then hold on the 23rd. If the Anglo-Allies did that, then it would turn into the French doing everything possible to delay. And if the French delayed that march even, 3 days? 2 days. I think even 2 days. Then the Anglo-Allies would not reach Lisbon. But the other nice thing about moving the entire army here in one march shaking off the fatigue and probably not taking losses. I just realized that I could actually compute the worst possible fatigue chit draw, subtract one for Wellesley and another one for the baggage train, and I could actually figure out whether the entire force would survive unscathed. I think maybe the Portuguese infantry at the lowest morale of only 3, might be the one to, and this is the worst possible draw, maybe the Portuguese infantry take a step loss. Interesting. But anyways, moving the entire army here is nice because it threatens both of these areas simultaneously. And then and if this is really important, then I think that's where the initiative event chit, would come in handy next turn. So next turn, if the Anglo-Allies, if I decide to go for this, I would be ready to seize the initiative. Even if the French got the initiative, I would consider playing this chit to get the initiative to do that first march. So that could all work together. Could. Okay, how big is this force actually? So artillery and cavalry are each 1 step. So right there we have 5. Okay, we have 5. And that's because, well, hang on. Before we count up the real forces, to review, the 3 counters underneath Wellesley are all decoys. So they're nothing. All right, let's look at the real forces. So 1, 2, 3 for the 3 artillery, 4 cavalry, 5 cavalry. So that's 5 for cavalry and artillery, the 1-step units. Then Trent or Trant, whichever one it is, that's 2 steps. Well, actually, I just add all these up, right? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 14, 15, 16, 17. I think that's right. 17 plus 5, 22. 22. So, yeah, so that would be drawing 2 extra. Yeah, that would be drawing 2 extra. Yeah, so there we go. So, so it could not possibly take a hit. Because I take 1 for that march, that 1 area march, 2 extra for size. So I'm drawing 3. Putting 2 back, 1 for Wellesley, 1 for the baggage trains, leaves just 1. And even if that were a 3 fatigue marker, that still does not exceed Trent's. I guess I'll go with, I don't know which one. Go with the marker or the order of battle. Yeah, maybe I'll look around in some references. Even if it exceeds the Portuguese infantry, it would not exceed the Portuguese infantry's current morale of 3. So they can do, it looks like, and this is all quick calculation, looks like they can do an entire consolidated army 1 area march. As long as Wellesley, well, obviously it's all together, so Wellesley and the baggage trains are present. That's interesting. So then the French would have to get into the zone. Well, I should point out that if doing a 1 march is 1 march into an enemy occupied zone is going to add another marker. So that could be an attrition only loss for the Portuguese infantry, because it's possible to get 4, and that would exceed Portuguese infantry's morale of 3. Okay. Okay, so this is real in progress play here. I did that calculation. I think I did that calculation way wrong. All right, start over. How big is this force? All right, again, we do have 5 from artillery and cavalry. Now, the 7th and 8th brigades aren't present. I just assumed that I had everything. So where's the 7th and 8th brigades? Maybe the 7th and 8th brigades comes in as an event? Chit? I don't know, but they're not present. I have 1st and 2nd, 3rd and 4th, 5th and 6th. So it's really only the top 3. So at least I'll try to get my math right. That is 14. And the Portuguese infantry is present. So that is 14, 15, 16. Plus 5 is 21. Okay. Okay, so the entire force is 21. So that would still be 2 extra markers, because it's 20 steps plus. Well, I should say it's plus 2 fatigue markers for having more than 20 strength steps to get that exactly right. Okay. All right. I've decided I won't look up the event markers to see what happens with the 7th and 8th brigades. I'll try to keep that as a surprise, and I'll just play on and not look that up. So actually I won't review any of the event markers before I draw them. Okay. So in preparation for when I play next, the French, I covered up my order of battle off-map display. I'm going to put Wellesley back inverted there on his fog of war side. Do a little memory thing there that it's the French next, but I also got my handy-dandy marker, but hey, you never know, that could get moved accidentally. There we go. There. Now we're ready for playing the French next time.